Hello and welcome back. Today's video is going to be creating my own version of the new NATASHA DENONA bronze palette. This is currently available for pre-order. It is $65 and I gotta say it is beautiful. I love golds and bronze, warm matte browns. However, I'm currently very overwhelmed with how much eyeshadow I have and I'm trying to hold off on buying eyeshadow. Maybe even for a couple of months just because I have so much. So I looked through my collection to find similar colors. And I gotta say, I definitely have similar colors. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you should not buy this palette because it is beautiful. And I personally love the NATASHA DENONA formula. I have 3 different palettes by her, but even in the palettes I have, I actually do think that there are some similarities to this one. So I'm going to show you mostly some palettes with similar colors, maybe to inspire you to also shop your stash. And then I picked out 3 single eyeshadows that I think could be similar to what's in the palette. And at the end, I filmed this makeup look if you are interested in seeing that. So yeah, there's a little tutorial at the end. Let's just get into the video. Now, I think in the 3 NATASHA DENONA palettes I have, there are definitely some similarities, not exact, of course. The first one is the Metropolis palette. And if you own this palette, I mean, you definitely have a couple bronzy type shades like this one. A lot of the golds in here do look very, very yellow or orange, where this palette is more bronze, which I do think is a little bit different, but you definitely have some warm matte browns in this one. And also the bronze palette does have a metallic red, which you do have in the Metropolis palette. Therefore, I think if you're like me and you invested in this palette, you may not need this new one. They're not identical, but I definitely think there are a few similarities. Another one that I have is the Mini Nude, and I think this has some similarities as well. You have bronze type shade here, a more of a copper here, a more matte brown, a dark chocolatey brown. I really think I could get similar looks out of this one as well. Something in this new palette though that I searched through my collection, I couldn't quite find. There's a purpley type shade, but it's almost a purpley type blue. I gotta say, I could not find anything exact. And I pulled out the Mini Lila. I don't know how good of a dupe this one is, but I do think I could get a similar look because this shade here, this is kind of a purpley blue duochrome. So again, I don't think it's identical to the one in the new bronze palette, but I think I could get a similar look if I combined this with similar shades as what's in the new palette. I gotta say this new palette does not have a ton of mattes. It is mostly shimmers and metallics, which NATASHA DENONA's formula for shimmers and metallics is amazing, so I wouldn't be complaining. But I gotta say, if you are in the market for some warm matte eyeshadows, the Dose of Colors Baked Browns is fantastic, and I really do like this. You know, so if you have this, you could easily combine it with some bronzy metallics and definitely get similar looks. You know, you get a very dark one here, more of like a reddish brown, and then some lighter warm browns here. This is a great palette. It's a very staple palette because I feel like I can use these type of shadows to blend out a lot of different looks. I didn't pick out too many single eyeshadows just because I feel like a lot of these colors aren't super unique. However, I did recently do a video on all my favorite single eyeshadows. I will link that in the description box if you want to see that, because there are definitely some shades that could work for dupes for this palette as well. There is one though in my collection, Copper Pot. This looks similar to the copper shade in the new NATASHA palette, and this is one of the best metallics I've ever used. I love this shade. This is by Coastal Scents. It's only $3 and I barely touched it to swatch it. That is such a high quality eyeshadow. Another one by Coastal Scents, Medieval Gold. It's not that gold, it's really more of a golden bronze, but again, I definitely think this is similar to one of the shades in her new palette. There it is. Also, this is a really buttery one. These are some of the best quality by Coastal Scents that I have. And then one more also by Coastal Scents is Bright Copper. Again, I think you could get some pretty similar looks with this one. And this one is also very, very high quality. Absolutely love these. These are 3 fantastic single eyeshadows, whereas if you just really needed like a copper or a bronze foiled metallic just to put all over the lid, one of these would do the trick for sure. Another palette in my collection that definitely has some similarities, again, it's not exact. This is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill. This is the Ring the Alarm. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there is some really good bronze metallic shades in the original Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette. I know a lot of people have that. There's a lot of warm matte browns in that palette and bronzes and golds. Totally forgot about that until now. This one though also, so this one does have a red metallic, similar to the Natasha palette. This one's probably a bit brighter. The one in the new one looks a bit darker of a shade. You've got some more matte browns, and then also this gorgeous copper shade here. I love that one. And then also a gold metallic. So I think if you have this palette, you could do some similar looks. I know some people didn't love the quality of these. I actually really like mine. I have this one in the Armed and Gorgeous. They do require a wet brush, I think, otherwise you do get a lot of fallout. Although I will say that is true for Natasha Denona's formula. I cannot get her metallic and foiled shades to work for me unless I spray my brush, which is perfectly fine because I often do that anyway, but I've just noticed that's when they really give that foiled effect. And then for the palette that I'm wearing and that I'll be showing you in the tutorial at the end is the Warrior, the #1 Warrior by Juvia's Place. They have 3 Warrior palettes now. This one, I gotta say, I think there are a lot of similarities. You have a warm matte brown, you've got kind of a darker bronzy gold, more of a true gold, more of a copper shade, and then these two are a bit more taupe in color. And I do think that a few of the bronze shades in the new Natasha palette do look like they pull a little bit of taupe, because that's the thing about this palette that I do think is beautiful, that bronze is, it's not too yellow, it's not too red, it's not too orange. So I think mixing in a taupe to get a beautiful bronzy look is a really nice way to do that. This is such a good palette. I absolutely love it. Let me give you some swatches. I do feel like I've talked about this palette a lot on my channel, and you'll see it in action, like I said, at the end of this video. I mean, these, I barely swatched these, and that's how foiled they are. I love Juvia's formula. I gotta say, actually, now that I'm seeing this one, I did look at Trend Mood One. She posted a video of the palette, and I was trying to look at that for similarities. And then also, I think sometimes the promo pictures and promo swatches, they can be a bit hard to tell exactly what the shades are going to be, but I gotta say, I think I have a pretty decent vibe on this palette. If I throw in a few more of these warm matte browns and then also a metallic red, which she does have in this palette as well. Alrighty, that is it for that part of the video. I gotta say, I really do think I have similar colors in my collection, and this color story is definitely not unique. However, Natasha Denona's formula is one of my favorites, so I hope she did not disappoint with that. And maybe this is a palette I will get later on, but color wise, it's definitely not going to be that unique to my collection. So yeah, please let us know, are you getting this palette? Did you order it on pre-order? Plus it's also one of her $65 palettes, which is definitely more affordable than her palettes that are over $100. So I do like that she's releasing more palettes on the affordable side. Alrighty, so that is it. Let us know what you think, and then let's roll into this tutorial. Alrighty, let's do this look. So I am going to be using the Juvia's Warrior palette. I love this one. It is so beautiful and bronzy, and I already did my face makeup because I always do my foundation, concealer, powder, all the same, but I'll list everything down below. Yes, this is absolutely amazing. The only thing about it is I do like to start with a lighter shade in the crease, because the one in there is just a bit too dark for me to first start out with. So I'm going to go with my Viseart palette, but there are so many of these shades on the market. It's crazy. I'm going to go with this light warm brown there. These Viseart mattes, they really do blend so easily. I really, really do like this palette. So just kind of getting this everywhere in the crease. Now this Natasha Denona palette is really beautiful. It is, and I may get it at some point. We'll see. You could probably skip that step and just go in with this matte brown from the Juvia's palette, but it's probably only a little bit darker than the shade I just used. So I'm going to put this in the outer corner. I'm definitely not used to having my face makeup done and doing my eyeshadow. It's very, very weird for me, but I figure if I could do this more, I could potentially do more tutorial type of videos. I'm going in with a clean brush just to blend this out. All right, and onto this dark shade in the outer corner. And then back to the clean brush, blending. Something I've been doing in my looks lately that I feel is adding a lot of dimension, and that is kind of layering different shimmer metallic shades together. So very inner corner here, I'm going to go with this taupey bronze right there. That is called Amina. And I'm not even gonna spray my brush because this palette does not need it. More in center of the lid, I'm gonna go with this very yellowy gold. Then the third of the lid, I'm going to go with this shade, which is more of a dark bronzy gold copper type color. There are a lot of these in the NATASHA DENONA palette, I will say. And it does kind of look like there's a few repeat shades, but you never really know until you see something in person, of course. Okay, so kind of in the middle again, I layer together Amina and this gold right here, and I do want to spray my brush. I just want to add a little bit of that dark brown on the outer corner again, because I do feel like that disappeared a little bit. This has been the exact technique that I've been using pretty much for the last few weeks, just changing it up, doing different colors. All right, and then just for a bit of blending, I'm gonna go with this light color from the Viseart palette. This palette actually does have a brow bone highlight that works for me, and that is this color here, a Hosi. This is a pretty good palette. I should be using this one more, honestly. For the lower lash line, I'm going to take one of these flat brushes, and I'm using that darkest brown, and I'm going to stamp this. I did wing liner because I realized I should have done that before I started on the lower lash line. Now I'm going with that medium brown, and I'm going to smudge all this out. Inner corner highlight, going with this light champagne there. Inner corner highlight has been one of my favorite makeup things ever lately. I really think it adds a lot to the look and gives more dimension. All right, let's do blush. I'm gonna go with my Marc Jacobs blush in Flesh and Fantasy. This is in my Shop My Stash. It's a really nice peachy neutral. I feel like it goes with a lot of looks. Because I put my contour on so long, it's like baked to my face and I can't get all this to blend together. Oh boy. Like I said, I'm trying something new here, so it's an experiment. I'm gonna use my current favorite highlighter, which is from JD Glow, and this is Saxon 5th. Oh man, I love this color. It's very gold. For a bronzy lip, I'm gonna go with my Contour Lip Liner by Pat McGrath, which I love. This is one of my favorite lip glosses ever. This is Bronze Divinity by Pat McGrath. This, oh my gosh, I know. I've talked about this a lot, but this formula is so good. Alrighty, that is it for this makeup look and for this shopping my stash for this palette video. Please let us know, are you getting this palette? It is so beautiful. Like I said, I may get it at some point, but not for now. Everything will be listed in the description box. That is it. Thank you so much for watching.